For years, the Jeep Compass was one of the least desirable cars on the road. It was loud, it was sluggish, and it felt cheap inside and out. For some reason, that old car is still for sale at Jeep dealerships. But so is the 2017 Jeep Compass. It's all new and it's a world away from the old car. It's quieter, it handles better, and in Trailhawk trim, like the car that I'm driving, it can even do some off-roading. Hi, I'm Keith Barry. Even though it's new and improved, the Jeep Compass still faces some pretty stiff competition. It's about the same size as the Subaru Crosstrek and the Ford Escape, and just a little smaller than the Honda CR-V and the Toyota RAV4. Within the Jeep lineup, it's only slightly bigger than the entry-level Jeep Renegade, but 7 inches shorter than the Jeep Cherokee. After spending a week with it, I realized the 2017 Jeep Compass might not be for everybody, but it definitely fills a niche. First things first, when you go to your Jeep dealer, make sure you let them know you're interested in test driving the all-new Compass. You do not want the old version, which is still for sale as a 2017 model and sometimes gets called the Compass X. You'll be able to tell the difference just by looking at the two cars, although the Jeep family resemblance is clear. The new model is a little larger than the Renegade, its overall profile could be mistaken for a Cherokee's, and the front end looks similar to a Grand Cherokee. Befitting that in-betweener status, it has the same 2.4-liter, 180 horsepower Tiger Shark 4-cylinder engine that's an upgrade in the Renegade, but the base choice in the Cherokee. The Compass comes in 4 trim levels. The entry-level Sport starts at $20,995 and comes with a manual transmission and front-wheel drive. You can get a 6-speed automatic as optional, or if you upgrade to all-wheel drive, you get a 9-speed automatic. Other options include heated seats and satellite radio. The Latitude gets better upholstery and unlocks even more option packages, like navigation and a better sound system. You can also add active safety features like lane keep assist, blind spot detection, and forward collision warning. The most luxurious trim is the Limited, which comes with standard all-wheel drive, a 9-speed transmission, and leather seats. It starts at $28,995. And then there's the Trailhawk. It starts at $28,595 and it wears a trail-rated badge. That means it's designed for off-roading. Now we'll get to what it can do later, but even from the outside you'll notice the special paint job, off-road tires, and a half-inch higher ride height. The Trailhawk also has redesigned bumpers for better ground clearance, steel skid plates to protect the underside of the vehicle, and 2 big red tow hooks in the front and 1 in the back for when the mud and rocks prove too much. You might not notice the hidden Easter eggs that reference the brand's off-road heritage, from an iguana sculpted under the windshield wipers to some sort of serpent on the rear window. But inside, the Compass is all business. Unlike the old car, it feels well built. Buttons are big, knobs are simple to turn, and screens are easy to read. The rear passengers get a USB charger, and the cargo area has a convertible floor for easy access. One drawback is that it fits only 59.8 cubic feet of cargo with the rear seats folded. That's 8 cubic feet less than the Ford Escape, which is about the same size. I do like the upgraded Uconnect infotainment system, which is all new for 2017 and more responsive than the previous version. For the first time in a Jeep, it supports Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, although you'll have to spring for at least the 7-inch touchscreen, which you can't get in the Sport. The Compass I'm driving has the optional 8.4-inch touchscreen, which includes navigation. You can also customize the Uconnect home screen. That'll come in handy if you equip your Compass with the optional heated seats or heated steering wheel. That's because Jeep buries the controls for those deep into the Uconnect system. Now, all you have to do is drag and drop the heated seat controls to the home screen, and they'll be easy to reach. If only I could say the same for the other switches, which sit very low in the car. The heating and air conditioning buttons are hard to reach, and because the driver's seat moves up as it slides back, I also had trouble finding a comfortable seating position for long drives. I have a few other complaints about the controls too. The turn signal stalk is so loose that every time you indicate left or right, you end up flashing your high beams. The intermittent wipers are speed sensitive, which means it's impossible for the driver to control how fast or slow they go, and there's no trunk release for the power liftgate inside the car within reach of the driver. I found that out the hard way when I was at the airport and security asked me to pop the trunk. But that's not the button that matters. If you get a Compass with all-wheel drive, you'll notice the Select Terrain knob right in front of the shifter. It allows you to choose from any of 4 different drive modes, including automatic, snow, sand, and mud. Set it to auto, and the Jeep's Active Drive 4x4 system will automatically send power to all 4 wheels if you need the traction, or just the front wheels if you don't. Set it to one of the other options and the system will respond accordingly. The Trailhawk adds even more off-road capabilities with Jeep's Active Drive Low system. It features a 20-to-1 crawl ratio, hill descent control, and a rock setting that relies on software to manage the brakes to simulate a locking differential. Essentially, you get more control over the car at low speeds, making it easier to drive over rough terrain. The Trailhawk's unique bumpers and ground clearance mean that you get better approach, departure, and breakover angles, which basically means it's harder to bottom out the Compass or get stuck in a ditch. Now, I'm not a serious off-roader, but I did take the Compass out onto some mud and some rocks, and I was impressed by how much control it gave me when I was trying to get the car over some pretty substantial fallen branches and through some pretty deep ruts. Now, I know that it's not a dedicated off-roader like a Wrangler or a Grand Cherokee, but I could also tell that it was capable of doing a lot more than I asked of it. But the majority of Compass owners, even those who opt for the Trailhawk, will probably keep all 4 wheels on paved roads. And that's where the Compass is a bit of a mixed bag. On one hand, it seems like Jeep finally figured out how to deal with road noise, vibration, and harshness. Inside, the Compass was actually quieter than the new Honda CR-V I drove earlier in the week. And even with its higher ride height and off-road design, the Trailhawk was a decent highway cruiser and smoothed out suburban potholes too. However, it does have one major flaw, and that's the 9-speed automatic transmission. On easy drives around town, it had no problem picking the right gear for the engine to work efficiently. Along with auto start-stop, it allows the Compass Trailhawk to return 22 miles a gallon city, 31 highway, and 25 combined. It also keeps that 180 horsepower engine from feeling too sluggish. But if you need to accelerate and you're already moving, like if you're merging onto a highway or passing a car, the transmission panics and just refuses to downshift. So you'll end up stomping your foot in the gas and the car won't move any faster. What's the point of having 9 gears if a car isn't smart enough to choose the right one? The good news is that modern transmissions can be reprogrammed with a software update. I've seen enough complaints about this issue that I wouldn't be surprised if Jeep fixes it with just a couple of lines of code. Unfortunately, considering the competition, the Compass has to be perfect in order for it to be a bestseller. And for most buyers, it just won't stand out. The Honda CR-V, Toyota RAV4, and Subaru Forester all have more space. The Mazda CX-5 and the Ford Escape are more fun to drive, and in my opinion, the Kia Sportage and the Hyundai Tucson are more comfortable. But the Compass Trailhawk has them all beat on mud, rocks, and trails. And I'm not just talking about recreational off-roading. I mean if you live somewhere rural where pavement isn't always a guarantee, or if you like to go camping deep in the woods, or you want to go to the beach, but you don't want to stop at the parking lot. I think the Compass Trailhawk is perfect for people who need to get places where a CR-V or a RAV4 just won't cut it, but also want to drive something a little more comfortable than a Wrangler. In other trims, the Jeep Compass is just another compact crossover, but the Compass Trailhawk is something special. To read my full review, head over to CarGurus.com. I'd love to read your thoughts and questions in the comments, and if you like what you see, be sure to subscribe.